Right, round 18 then of the Quick Fit British Touring Car Championship is ready to go. Here at Croft, Aidan Moffat's BMW on pole position, Tom Ingram with him at the front, then you've got Gordon Shedden and Charles Rainford. Watch Ash Sutton from 5th as well as the lights blink out now and we go racing. Should be a good start by Moffat, it is. It's a good getaway by Rainford on that hard tyre as the cars run down towards Clairvaux for the first time. Aidan Moffat has the advantage. Look at Ash Sutton on the outside line already making progress. Moffat and Ingram go toe-to-toe. Ingram right round the outside, there's contact, he's sideways. Can he hang on to a big slide? Yes, he can. Through on the inside line goes Moffat. Rainford up to 2nd, and the save of the day is Tom Ingram. He's down to 3rd, but that could have been a whole lot worse.
Wow, how he didn't get turned around. I mean, he was forcing the issue round the outside. That's dangerous. Moffat didn't want to give way, but if he hadn't been in a front-wheel drive car and able to bury the throttle, he certainly would have been turned around.
Sutton's made good progress. De Leon runs out wide, so Tom Ingram is still there in 3rd place, but he's about to go 2nd. Look at the inside of Rainford, and he clatters his way up alongside. He gets hung out to dry on the outside coming out of the gym car. Gets his down to Croft. Here comes Sutton up the inside. He's in the back of Rainford. Charles Rainford on that harder tyre. He's hanging on to 2nd place as Moffat escapes up the road. Sutton clears Ingram, then he's done it. He's gone by, and now he makes a move against Rainford on the run up to the complex. Rainford defends from Ingram. That opens the door for Sutton, and Ash Sutton goes round the outside. Here comes Shedden on the outside of Ingram. What a first lap. Sutton elbows up, goes 2nd. Now Rainford spirited defence, but it's going to be Moffat leading at the end of lap 1 with Sutton 2nd, and Ingram is still fighting. Look, he's up the inside of Rainford. Shedden's on the outside, but what a lap by Sutton. What a terrific lap by Sutton, and what a absolute door-banging first lap of touring car action that was. Ingram must think, what on earth is going on here? He's been roughed up something rotten, hasn't he? Absolutely, but after all of that, he is in 3rd place, so it could have been a whole lot worse for him, and he's still in the mix. Now, Charles Rainford 4th is on that hard tyre, remember, so his pace won't be as good as those around him. Gordon Shedden's on his tail, Adam Morgan gets out on the draft to have a go. Then you've got Dan Rowbottom, he's on the hard tyre as well. Look, in the next to the Napa Fords, and behind him as they drop down towards tower is Dan Camish. So Rainford now, cork in bottle. The gap between Moffat and Sutton at the end of lap 1, 1.7 seconds. Yeah, the gap between Sutton and Ingram, well, that's the one we're going to have to watch, isn't it? See how quickly Ingram can catch up, if indeed he can. Gordon Shedden up the inside of Charles Rainford. Dan Camish goes through to put a place on Rowbottom. Rainford gets roughed up a little bit by Morgan, former BMW racer, of course. And have a look at Chris Smiley, who's arrived on the scene. He now, upholding Restart Racing's honour, is on the back of the Napa Racing UK Ford of Rowbottom. He's almost alongside the Ford of Rowbottom. And off the road goes Camish. Is that way wide? Dan tries to hang on to it. He's back across the road and bang, there's big contact. De Leon's involved, Smiley's involved, Rainford's off, Osborne's off. Camish's car is in the middle of the road, and we're going to end up with a safety car. De Leon is out, Smiley is out, and Camish, I'm afraid to say, is in the middle of the racetrack. We're going to end up with the race being neutralised. There's debris on the road, and we've got 3 parked cars. There are 2 of them. Well, Camish got forced onto the grass coming into the left hand of the complex, and on the grass you can't slow the car down. He just speared straight back into the pack. Yeah, and there is Dan Camish's battered car. And as he came across the road, he hit De Leon. On the outside of him was Chris Smiley. The safety car has been deployed. So that was almost 2 laps of door-banging action, but I'm afraid the 2nd lap has ended badly for 3 of the front runners, because De Leon, Smiley and Camish were all running well. I'd like to have another look at how Dan ended up on the grass, though. Yeah, I think he just got a little nudge as they were turning into the complex. That's the end of the accident. It all starts at the way into the complex. This is another shot where he's coming back across the grass. It's earlier than that we need to see when they come into the left-hander. So there is Dan Camish's car, brakes with a little bit of flame. A little bit of a brake fire from the grass, probably. Hopefully that won't develop into anything else. Daryl De Leon there is getting out of the car. He was the one harpooned by Dan Camish, and he's the one with the attention at the minute. On board with Camish, he gets a touch there, and literally he has to bury the throttle to save the slide, and then he comes back across the road. Some very lucky drivers did squeeze through, and some very unlucky drivers were the innocent victims. Daryl De Leon took a big whack. He's out of the car, he's okay. Dan Camish is okay. Chris Smiley has walked away as well. They'll all go with the Toka medical team for a quick check over That's part of the course in any incident, large or small, but then you've got to get those 3 cars out of the way, and there's quite a bit of debris to clear off the racetrack as well.
Yeah, it's going to take a little while. That was the little touch just from Rainford. I mean, and you see, Dan actually, in order not to spin the car, he accelerates just like Ingram did at the first corner, just to straighten the car up. But then he can't slow it down enough to rejoin safely on the track. But he
well, we've got Dan Rowbottom in the pits with some damage. We've got Mikey Doble in the pits with damage as well. This is Doble's start.
Yeah, an average start, loses out a little bit to the guys in front. We're going to see a lot of action ahead of him in turn 2 and 3, aren't we? It all bunches up a little bit. He's got James Dorlin on his inside, so he's forced to the outside. Dexter Padson just in front in the rocket car. He's going to have to try and fit in here, or does he abort? Yeah, he has to abort. Look, there was no way to get back in before the chicane, and that's why the tyre stacks have been moved, because of cars being forced into them. That's a good thing. Further down towards Tower, he's still on the outside, still got James Dorlin inside, and then arriving as well is Senna Proctor, who just appears lunging down the inside. Side by side through the Jim Clark S's. That's always dodgy. Doble has a little bit of a run through here, but now we're all pretty much in line. This is the start from, watch what happens to Ingram. He doesn't get the best of starts initially, but then he actually picks up a lot of pace. Look, he's actually slightly ahead just there, but he hasn't got the inside. Moffat takes the inside, gives him room, and then Ingram is trying to squeeze across the front of him, but there isn't room, he's not clear. So Moffat did nothing wrong there. That was Ingram trying to get back in line. Now, there we go further back. This is on board with Camish. He gets up the inside of Chilton. He's following his teammate Rowbottom, but remember, Rowbottom's on the hard tyre, so he will not have as much grip. And look, the car's sliding around. In front of him is De Leon, but Camish is desperate to get past his teammate as quickly as possible, take advantage of that quicker tyre. Down towards Tower, Rowbottom is defending, possibly, yeah, so right round the outside of him and De Leon goes Camish, but De Leon gets a little touch, I think, from Rowbottom that pushed him wide. Rowbottom is really fighting, despite being on the hard tyre. He actually does end up in front of both of them. That didn't work out. That was the start of things going wrong for Camish, wasn't it, really? Back down to Sunny Inn. Camish is now trying ever so hard to get some places back. Ahead of him, he's got Rainford, and he's got his teammate on the hard tyre. Big lunge up the inside into the complex, and then round the outside of Rowbottom. Can't quite make that one stick, but he's got De Leon, who goes right round the outside. Now he decides to follow Adam Morgan. This could work out better for Dan Camish, but still his teammate is robustly holding that position, Dan Rowbottom.
So Dan Rowbottom rejoins after a pit stop, but he's gone a lap down, so he picked up some damage in all of that as well. Dan Camish's car is being retrieved. The BMW of Darryl De Leon, I think, has been cleared, and Chris Smiley's Restart Racing Hyundai, that's had a tough day as well. That has got a lot of damage, and that's being retrieved, I can see as well. So the track is almost clear. The debris has been swept off the tarmac as well, out of the way. So maybe 2 more laps and we can go back racing. Bad news for Aidan Moffat, of course, having tried to build up a gap, and now he's got Ash Sutton and Tom Ingram and Gordon Shedden, then Adam Morgan and Senna Proctor queued up behind. That's Chris Smiley's car being placed on the back of the flatbed. 7th is Tom Chilton, and James Dorlin, 15th on the grid he started, and 8th he runs, so he was able to get through the melee. Yeah, okay, I know a lot of cars were involved in that, but he was also able to find the road opening up ahead of him, and he's made really good progress. Currently on lap 6 then. Let's have another look at it all. This is Dan Camish's view. Gets past Rowbottom here.
That was finally, he got back. This is the next lap. So he's got past the hard-tired Rowbottom. Now, look, there's the hard-tired Rainford, and this is where it all starts to go wrong. He's got much better pace, Camish, but you watch the car, who gets a tap here, there, from Rainford, and that's what puts him wide. So it's, you know, it's the problem of when you start faster cars, or behind slower cars, if you like, because they're on the harder tyre, you get this concertina effect of performance, don't you?
And there you can see the damage down, so poor old Dan Camish having another tough day, but good points in the first race at least. That's of little consolation right now. The best news of all is that all three drivers got out and walked away. It was certainly in Daryl de Leon's case quite an impact, but the other good news is he's sitting on the other side of the car. It's a left-hand drive car and it was a right-hand hit. Teammate Aidan Moffat still leads the way then. Ash Sutton in second place. This is Senna Proctor's start, Tim, on the run down to Clairvaux.
Yeah, he had a great first lap. I think we might be going back to green at the end of this lap, but let's have a look what Senna Proctor does. He's got a nice gap in front of him, so he's thinking, right, I need to build a really good run onto the back straight here. Give myself a little bit of a gap, have a really good run. Doble's going to get forced wide through the chicane because there's not room for two, and that's the momentum, all the momentum Proctor needed to carry on to the back straight. And I think he gets another one down the inside here. Does he send it? Yeah, he gets two down the inside. So that was a really good thinking, race driver thinking of his to use that hang back, get the momentum through the chicane. He picked up 3 places.
And while you're watching this replay, let me tell you, the safety car has just completed that lap, so it's going to do one more, and then we should be good to go back racing. This is Senna Proctor's view on the run then, down towards Sunny. Dexter Patterson is the driver ahead of him, and we've now completed 6 laps of the race under the safety car. We are still, but we should be back racing very shortly indeed. This is Proctor's view heading up towards the complex, and another move on the inside, avoids contact with the Cupra.
Yeah, I mean, in actual fact, he's in the right place come the next lap when it all kicks off in front of him, because it wiped out several cars that were in front of him. Look at that great lunge by Dorling round the outside, doesn't quite pull it off. 19th to 6th for Proctor, obviously with some cars going out, but nevertheless a fabulous first couple of laps for him.
Absolutely right. Safety car in this lap then, so we're going to go back racing, and the car's now turning out of tower down to the Jim Clark S's speed building. Safety car getting faster and faster, and now Aidan Moffat thinking about how he's going to treat this restart and what he might be able to do on the run to Clairvaux to fend off the challenge that is surely going to come from Ash Sutton. Lights out on the safety car, thinking championship if the result stays as the positions are at the moment. This is how we look with Tom Ingram 10 points up on Ash Sutton, and Dan Rowbottom a further 77 back, and of course now he is 18th and a lap down. Robo unlikely to score.
Yeah, remember they came into this meeting with Ash Sutton 10 points ahead of Tom Ingram, so that would be an exact reversal, wouldn't it?
But we're not done yet. We're ready to go racing once more then, as the safety car is about to dive for the pit lane. Aidan Moffat leads, Ash Sutton leads Tom Ingram. Gordon Shedden is there in 4th. Adam Morgan is 5th. Senna Proctor is 6th. The green flag awaits on the timing line. He can't overtake until you've got to the line. Aidan Moffat accelerates now up towards the go board, and then he can floor the throttle, which he does now. He gets away, and the cars run down towards Clairvaux. This is where Sutton thinks about making a move for the lead, but also having to defend from Ingram. Look, as they dive down towards that first corner, the first right-hander. Aidan Moffat leads, and he's got away by 3 lengths as Sutton versus Ingram for second place. Rages on.
There's a bit of angst in this meeting already. Oh look, Ingram right up the inside of Sutton, and Sutton has to take through the chicane. He'll say he was forced out wide, but the Hyundai is very quick on the straight.
And Ingram's got the inside line going to tower, and Sutton stands on the brakes. The rear of the car almost lifting there, but Ingram's got the inside line and will go through. Tom Ingram has done it, so he's up to second spot. Sutton's not going to like that. He will fight back.
He'll definitely fight back if he can, especially when as the road is not clear for Ingram to scarp away, because he's going to catch up with Moffat, and that will give Sutton a chance to nibble away somewhere.
3 for the lead. Down towards Sunny. Aidan Moffat in the BMW. Tom Ingram in the Hyundai. Ash Sutton in the Ford Focus. And actually Gordon Shedden's right there with them as well in 4th place in the Toyota. So Aidan Moffat's got a really tough ask here in order to repel all of this challenge for another 11 laps, or just under. He comes up to the complex, and does Ingram make a move here? The answer no, but he's got Sutton right up behind him. Now Ingram thinks about a move heading up to the hairpin, but Sutton wants to make the move on Ingram. Tries to get the switch back, but there's contact between Sutton and Shedden. Shedden's turned round. Sutton leads at the end of the lap. What a move! move.
Wow.
He goes from third to first, and there was contact with Gordon Shedden, and Ash Sutton leads at the end of the lap, and that was absolutely brilliant.
That was fantastic because Moffat defended. Ingram got boxed out to the outside. Sutton went to the inside but nearly got turned around, but it all worked out perfectly. I tell you what, though, on that last lap, through that corner there, Hawthorne's was a brilliant example of how good that Hyundai is, because he was able to turn underneath Sutton and accelerate at the same time. So the chassis was working fantastically there. People go on about how quick the car is on the straight, but that was a great example of why he comes off the corner so well.
And now we'll see what Ingram can do to reflect that by getting past Moffat, because look, Sutton's getting away. Never mind how good the Hyundai is, that Ford is still a quick car, and right now Ash Sutton leads the way, and he's building that gap because Moffat's defending from Tom Ingram. That's it, Aidan thinks, Ash, you keep defending. This is Proctor fourth, and he's closing up now. After Gordon Shedden's dramas, then when he made contact with Sutton and got sideways, he's dropped to sixth behind Adam Morgan, but he might be able to fight back, in fact, on the run to the end of the lap. So, race leader, Sutton, getting away, second, third, fourth, as well.
Well, surely Proctor's not going to do anything to hinder his teammate Ingram's chances, but he's really driven well, has Proctor. It's all worked out perfectly for him these first few laps, but this is Ash Sutton's chance, and turned around in the background is Charles Rainford.
And a driving standards flag for Ash Sutton as well, so Rainford on the hard tyre. Tough race, not getting any easier. Moffat still fending off Tom Ingram, and look now, the queue is building behind Ingram. It's Proctor next up as Ingram again tries to get up the inside. Behind Proctor is Shedden, he's back ahead of Morgan. Then you've got Chilton, and you can see that car coming through as that Stephen Jelly in the gravel at Clairvaux corner. He's just about got the momentum to dig his way out the other side. But all of this great defence for second place by Moffat is playing into the hands of Sutton. Look, he's nearly at Knock Hill, he's that far up the road.
Yeah, but this race is not over yet, believe me, but this is a great opportunity. And, I mean, Ingram's been sort of so roughed up already, he's probably thinking, I've got to be really careful here not to take a risk, because Moffat could easily defend to the extent that I have to go off. He doesn't want to risk going off. This was how it all panned out. Watch Sutton. Dives up the inside there, gets tagged by Shedden, because Shedden doesn't expect him to come, and somehow it just works out that he comes out in front.
But does he have a charmed life or what? I mean, there's contact, and it's Shedden that came off worse. That was Rainford getting turned around, and he drops to the back of the pack. So, Ash Sutton still leads the way, and he's trying to build that gap over Aidan Moffat. 10 laps are in the book out of the 18. He's 1.4 seconds up the road right now over Moffat, who is defending well from Ingram. Then it's Proctor, then it's Shedden, then it's Morgan. And in seventh is Chilton, and he's the leading car on the hard tyre. And there is Ingram up the inside. He's going to go through surely now for second place. No, Moffat able to fend him off. Good defence.
Well, the rear-wheel drive BMW can actually use its traction very well through that acceleration zone on a corner. Surely Proctor's not going to have a go here, is he? Surely he's looking down the inside. He wants a piece of this. Come on, Senna. Go for it, my lad. You're in there to look after yourself. He's going to be side by side through the chicane. He's done it! Fantastic. Local boy comes good, or what?
And that helps Tom Ingram not one jot in the championship, because that takes more points away from him against Ash Sutton. So Senna Proctor going well, gains the place. That was not in the Ingram game plan at all. So Tom Ingram in fourth place now. Senna Proctor comes up to have a go at Aidan Moffat.
But at the end of the day, Senna Proctor is here to race for his own career, for his own sponsors, and boy, doesn't that look good on his CV when he shows that to people, that he can pass champion Tom Ingram. Now he's got to work out and see if he can find a way past Moffat that Ingram couldn't.
But at the same time, he's got to keep Ingram behind him. Assuming Tom's car has the pace after being roughed up on the first couple of laps, then he will be back on the tail of Proctor. In fifth, it is Shedden, it's Morgan in sixth. Now, seventh is Sam Osborne, eighth is Chilton ahead of Taylor Smith. They're on the hard tyre, and 10th is James Dornan, who's dropped back a little bit. But as they round Clairvaux, there you can see the Toyotas battling with Dexter Patterson's Cupra, and Dornan got a problem because he runs very wide and slows.
Yeah, looks like he may have a left front problem. This is on board with Proctor trying to tee up Moffat. Look, he'll cut back. He's going to try and do this run round the outside into the S's. Depends on who's got boost and who hasn't, but he hasn't got enough speed off the corner this time.
Tom Ingram fourth. He's done the fastest lap of the race, but right now he's waiting for this to end in tears in front of him. But Sutton just disappearing up the road. Here comes Proctor then, third generation racer from the Proctor family, a great heritage at Croft from grandfather Tony's rallycross days through his dad Mark's racing, and now Senna looking for a podium here. He's on the back of Moffat, and they run to the complex once again. Moffat with a big dive up the inside, makes contact with Moffat, who's all crossed up. He's on the grass, and that was down to Proctor. That was contact, and Moffat gets back towards the circuit, hemorrhaging places. And now Tom Ingram is under attack from Shedden. Look, as he also tries to attack Senna Proctor, but that one was on Senna.
Yeah, that was a little bit too late. And, it's a dive, but he doesn't get alongside. Look, he taps the rear quarter of Moffat, so that was a bit of a mistake there, Senna. It's a shame to do that after a fine drive, and it's a shame for Moffat because he had driven a resolute defence. I have to say, Ash Sutton has not got that far up the road, considering how much defence Moffat has been putting up.
James Dorlin's just come into the pit lane. We were concerned about the car earlier. Right, here comes Ingram then on the lights to try to have a go at Senna Proctor. He makes a look up the inside, but it wasn't a full move. But he's mindful that he needs to get on with the programme because Gordon Shedden, having a really good run, is there in fourth place. The Alton Park Race 3 winner. In fifth spot, it's Adam Morgan, and down to sixth, it's Moffat. Right, the Hyundai's at wall now, nose to tail as they flick through the S's, and that's James Dorlin in the pits.
Well, tradition dictates that Scottish driver wins the race before knock-hill to bring in the crowds, doesn't it? Now, Gordon Shedden managed to win the third race at Alton Park, but he's a tough ask to win this one.
Yeah, all eyes then on
Moffat was going to be the one, wasn't he, to bring the Scottish crowds in, but that's been derailed.
That's gone, so it's all eyes on Ash Sutton, is it now, to try and help them out. So there you've got Proctor versus Ingram, who's going to have a go on the inside, heading into the hairpin. Door opens for him, Ingram up to second place, nicely done. So Tom Ingram, who was way back in fourth, relatively way back, now up into second place, and the fight back continues. I don't suspect he's going to get close enough to attack Sutton, but he's thinking points now. Don't forget, he's got the fastest lap point as well at the moment as he goes through Clairvaux. Down to third is Proctor, fourth Shedden, Morgan fifth, Moffat sixth.
This is the move. I feel like Ingram's got a bit more front tyre under him, and he just launched it up the inside. This time Proctor, probably feeling a little bit guilty after the Moffat incident, decides not to make any more of it as Nicholas Hamilton retires again into the pit lane, or comes in. What a disastrous weekend it's been for him. Well, if this is the way it finishes, and you told people that Ash Sutton will run one race 3 from Ingram, they'd think that was fairly standard, but it doesn't tell half the story of the race, how it's unfolded, does it?
No, nor the day, really, with Ash not scoring a single point with that puncture and power steering dramas in race 1. Senna Proctor may not yet have booked that place on the podium because Gordon Shedden wants to find a way past him, and Gordon Shedden, finding good pace in that Toyota, is racing hard right now. There are driving standards flags being fluttered for Sam Osborne and Aaron Taylor-Smith. Osborne is 7th, Taylor-Smith is 9th. And there, look, with a cone stuck in the front of the car, is Charles Rainford. And he's still pressing on. Yeah, how on earth that shows the radiators are not where they'd be in a conventional car, because that cone would have gone straight through it. Possibly letting in more air with that funnel shape. Anyway, over the timing line goes Shedden. He's on the back of Proctor. Now, the gap between Sutton and Ingram came down last time. It's 2.3 seconds. We've got 4 laps to go. Tom's going to run out of time, and he is heading in the right direction. This will tell us, I think, how Charles Rainford got in touch with the cone's hotline. He was squabbling, as you can see, with Nick Halstead, who flicks the cone, and you could not have done that in a movie. I'll tell you what, Luke Littler would have been happy with that one, wouldn't he? What a shot, what a throw. Mind you, does that constitute a Ram Air system now? Is that, I'm not sure if that's within Total's route. On board with Mikey Noble in 11th place. Back to commentating, David. Down towards the right-hand of tower they come, and that's Ingram, and that is Gordon Shedden. The rest of the pack go through. Now, as far as the race leader is concerned, Sutton, Ingram, Proctor, that is the order. Shedden 4th, Morgan 5th, Moffat in 6th. Tom Chilton 8th, still the best of those on the hard tyre. Mikey Doble, in the meantime, fights on. But look at that graphic, Proctor up 15 places, and a hats off to Sam Osborne up to 7th place as well. He's had a great run. He's right on the back of his back. I do have to say that I'm guessing that Ingram's car and Sutton's car are not exactly geometrically straight as they were set up for this race after all the bashing around. There's Sam Osborne, great race. But Ingram took out half a second off Sutton just in the last sector, so I do think they're both hobbled a bit to the end. and the gap is down to 1.9 seconds. Ingram all fired up. Now, don't forget, Ash Sutton has a good strike rate at Croft. He's had 5 wins here in the past, 46 career wins. So let's see whether he's going to add to it, or Tom Ingram, who is far less fortunate, it would appear, in terms of Croft strike rate. But right now he's pushing. He knows that he needs points for the championship, but if he can get anywhere near Sutton, he's going to have a go. But we've got about 2.5 laps to go now.
Yeah, I mean, obviously Ingram started off with a bit more boost. He had 8 laps of boost use as opposed to 5 for Sutton, so that will have enabled him to use that a little bit more advantageously. As we sit now, Sutton has 3 laps left and Ingram 2. So in actual fact, at the end of this lap, Sutton will be in the pound seat in terms of having the boost advantage.
Meanwhile, we've got the cars pouring their way now down through Clairvaux, down through Barcroft, I should say, and Dan Rowbottom is currently running in 15th place, but he's a lap down, so this is only for track position, not for points, not for overall places, but he's still racing as hard as he can.
So 2 laps to go and the gap is 1.7 seconds. It's basically stabilised, only a 1/10 of a second between them on the last lap. So I think that little flurry that we saw for Ingram was using his boost when Sutton wasn't, but Sutton now has it to the end of the race, and that should prevent him getting into any kind of a threat.
But add into this as well, Tom Ingram's now being shown a driving standards flag for track limits. So he needs to be careful as well. Senna Proctor then is mindful that he's got Gordon Sheridan behind him as he fights on for that 3rd place on the road.
I wonder if Senna's thinking, what can I possibly say when I go into the bus in defence for tapping Aidan Moffat? I mean, obviously you'll say that Aidan Moffat turned across the front of him, but they're in all big black lines being left by the cars through Jim Clark S's there. But it's a shame because it's been a fine drive, and there may well be some after race discussion about that.
I think you are probably right, and it won't be the only one that will detain the Clark and Corsi and Watson for quite a while. He'll want to look at that Camish incident as well, won't he? Right then, Proctor 3rd, Gordon Sheridan 4th, and he'd like a podium as well, on merit, never mind if there's any penalty to come to Senna Proctor. Gordon wants to do it on the track. Here they come out of the hairpin, but the leaders are about to start the last lap of the race now. So over the line goes Sutton, goes Ingram, and the gap's gone up again, 2.1 seconds.
Yeah, because he's using the boost on these last laps. He's got this one under control. And what a race it's been. This has been one that you can't remember everything that's gone on. You need to if people ask me what's a touring car race like, I'll say watch this one.
Absolutely right. Now there is Sutton then on his run up towards Tower. So there you've got Ash Sutton, race leader, and it looks as though he's going to have a 5th of the season. Ingram goes through 2nd, Proctor and Sheridan still fighting for 3rd, 5th Adam Morgan, 6th it is Aidan Moffat, and in 7th place it is Sam Osborne having another good run. His best result of the year, a 5th, but again it's really encouraging to see Sam up there. Yes, you'll say, some of you, lots of people dropped out in that 1st lap tangle, and yes, it's down to the tyre, but he's a much improved racer than he was even last year.
Yeah, look at his pace, he's up there with quick guys. It's not like they've gapped him hugely, but this man will be pleased and relieved to get this win after the way his day started with puncture in race 1. He's driven fantastically to get this result, but he'll be disappointed to see his nemesis right behind him.
It is going to be win number 6 at Croft and win number 5 of this season for Ash Sutton, who accelerates towards the checkered flag and a 47th career win. Sutton wins race 3 at Croft. Tom Ingram is 2nd, and 3rd across the line is Senna Proctor. Then it's Gordon Sheridan ahead of Adam Morgan, and Aidan Moffat is going to round out the top 6 after a tough race. Mikey Doble's had a tough day as well, and he's still fighting as he gets up the inside and into the side of Dexter Patterson. Clatters his way up the inside. Is he going to force the issue and stay ahead or give the place back? He's going to be ahead as they cross the line, and that's another one we'll get looked at possibly at the end of the day. But hey, it's race 3, and it's kind of what you expect.
That was a touring car race.
Was it ever? And Ash Sutton just underlining, and we said it at the start of the day, never give up.